but they are out there.
There's also a conspiracy theory. Oh, we're getting sidetracked. This happens every show, but there's a conspiracy theory that
All two of them.
What?
All two of them.
I'll do. I'll do.
We're consistent.
We are consistent that Australia does not exist, and people who go, it's Australia. People are paid by the government
The
to say.
landmass does not exist.
Yeah, the landmass.
Oh, no, it's not just an empty landmass. The landmass itself doesn't exist.
Oh, sorry, I haven't. I haven't. Yes, I think so.
Oh,
Yeah, people are paid to say that they've been to Australia.
right.
No, I know a few people have gone to Australia. See, that's the thing about conspiracy theories. Like,
Can I
Like-
can I interrupt?
yes.
I went to Australia.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you've just been paid. Every man has his
I was
price.
only 4 to be honest, so maybe I was.
Yeah, maybe you just got Men in Black. You know that.
Yeah,
rave
mind
thing.
control kind of.
Yeah. There's no way to know.
Yes, but that's true. But then
It's
you
sort
can-
of like
you can
sa-
apply that same argument to any country then, surely.
Well, no.
You-
Every
you-
country is closer. Australia's so far away.
What, to us?
Yeah, well, to us.
Well, not to everybody else though.
Yeah.
To somebody else, we're really far away, so the exact same logic.
Well,
would
but
be
this is a
flipped.
radio station in Northern Ireland. I don't know, like, is in India, are there people going, oh, no, Australia definitely doesn't exist? I didn't do the accent. Spared you the drudgery.
So where does this originate? This Australia's non-existence?
I have no idea. I have no idea who this could possibly benefit. I have no idea, like, who.
What about in the Olympics? They come like 6 for 7 for every time in the Olympics because they're really well-funded education.
Yeah, don't you think that's strange that it's so consistent?
No, but they don't literally come 6 or 7. I'm just being approximate.
Okay, well, then maybe they come 8th or 9th. Isn't that bizarre?
No, because people come above and people come below them. They're literally in the middle.
But you say they're so consistent.
It's the least bizarre place they could be.
Maybe that's a plan by the elites.
No, that is
Yeah,
true.
because if they never get a medal, nobody's gonna be like, "Oh my god, Australia got a medal." Nobody's ever talking about 8th place.
No, Australia does
If
get
they-
medals. That's the point. 190 compete in the Olympics. They're 8th.
Oh, maybe in the dressage, I don't know, but in track and field, I don't see any bronze Australian medals.
No, they're typically good at swimming. They are good swimmers.
Yeah,
They're
Australia's
good.
a
They're
good
good at
swimmer.
swimming. Good at.
Are they
well,
medal good
very
at swimming?
rugby sevens, obviously. The rugby
Yeah,
team in
are they
themselves.
medal good at swimming?
I think they have had medalers in the past. I can't think
In
of
the
like
past, back when Australia existed.
the medalers you think of when you think of swimming are people like Phelps, people like Spitz, the Americans essentially, or else a few of the Brits because a lot of
Yeah.
fun has went into the British swimming as of late.
Yeah.
I can't think of. Oh, who'd you call? Mark Foster, is he? No, he's not Australian. Is he Australian? No,
Mark Foster,
he
I
might
have
be
no
British.
idea.
He might be British actually. Now that I think
Okay.
about it. But anyway,
What has this conversation become?
we're getting off the broader point of Australia's non-existence. Okay,
Yeah.
so structurally, how does this work? Is the wildlife fictional as well, or has the wildlife been or is that like a collection of wildlife from other worlds? And
I have no idea.
just-
That's actually so bizarre because Australia is actually so isolated. There have been no real mammals, to evolve in Australia. So you get like very large marsupials. Like when Homo sapiens first arrived on Australia, you had marsupial lions. You had massive kangaroos, like 2 ton. You had koalas, but were absolutely massive. No mammals. So I don't know where else
So
they.
where do they come in? Sorry to interrupt. Are kangaroos not mammals, or are they?
No, they're marsupials.
Is a marsupial not a mammal?
Yes. No, I don't know. Maybe there is a distinction between a marsupial.
Are you not on about like maybe like a primate kind of? There's no primate, so there's no.
Uh,
Or is Australia just like the only place where you get marsupials?
it's not the only place. I think there are marsupials in America as well, but I think it's the only place where marsupials became the dominant sort of
Right.
land
okay.
animal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Australia is dominated by them essentially.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair enough. That is distinct about Australia compared to other places.
So, if I were to say this country doesn't exist, Australia would be a bad place to pick, I think. But maybe that's why it doesn't exist. Sorry, what's my point?
I think your broader point is the non-existence of Australia.
Yeah.
My question was, is this wildlife existent in other places? And so the elites just got this wildlife together and said, we'll put it together in a country. It's called Australia.
Yeah.
We'll put all these kangaroos and koalas.
Why are there kangaroos in other countries?
Um, too sure. I don't know.
Camels aren't native to Australia, but there are loads of camels there.
That is true.
But Australia doesn't exist.
Australia. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Gotta keep this logic.
Gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
So why would they want us to think that Australia does not exist?
No, they think they.
No, I know.
Does it? No.
I know. They've made up a false currency, the Australian dollar.
Oh, and this is how they're controlling the global markets?
Yeah. Australia doesn't exist. They've created a false currency.
Okay.
They then
hire actors to be in the Olympics.
Hire actors to be in the Olympics. They then cause rapid inflation and deflation and then trade on the stock markets because of the constantly influx currency, and nobody else is aware of this constantly influx currency, and they make a lot of money because of that.
Now that you say that, historically Australia is one of the only countries that's never been in a recession. I know that fact. That's actually a fact I read once.
Okay.
Australia
I tried to pass off my wild. This extrapolation is actually an unjust term because extrapolation implies you have a starting point. I don't have a starting point. I just go whoosh. Australia doesn't exist. They've made up a currency.
They've made up a currency. Australia is one of the only countries in the world that's never been in a recession until they might have been recently, but up until
the elites recently rigged an election.
Oh.
Mm.
So what about the Australian accent? Is that is that a product of the elites?
Do you know what I actually heard about the Australian accent? It arises because of there are a lot of Irish people sent to Australia. First of all,
prison boats.
Yeah. What would that be called? Penal settlements.
Yeah.
And then obviously Irish people would have emigrated to Australia. The Australian accent is apparently the product of drunk Irish speaking.
So that's just generation.
Apparently, don't put me up on it. I don't have any references. I've heard this.
If I could follow up on that there.
Okay.
Apologies for putting holes in your logic, but if that was the case, would we not speak Australian then in this country?
Well,
are you arguing that because we are close to mainland Britain and England and Scotland, that the combination of that there...
And we used to be in the European Union.
The combination of those influences in and of themselves...
Well, I can't remember what date it was. Sorry?
The combination of those influences prevented our accent from becoming...
From devolving into that.
Devolving, not evolving. Devolving.
Descending into that. Well,
reducing.
Yeah, well, if you actually look around Ireland, you'll see that there are a lot of different accents. If you've got North and South Dublin, they're quite different. Cork's quite different. Kerry, West of Ireland, Belfast, Derry, South Down, South Armagh. I chose those.
Most broadly indecipherable.
And just but they're in their own very special ways.
Yes.
You may not have had that in Australia, and also when you were in Australia, presumably it wasn't just Irish people who were sent to Australia.
No,
it was other English criminals, Scottish criminals. So we're not giving Australia a good rap here.
Australia has evolved into a great country, apparently.
Yes. Australia is a proud nation full of hard-working people who try to put an advert out there that Australia is a good place. Australia is a good place, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
What we were originally talking about vaccinations.
Yeah, but the non-existence of Australia is a more pertinent point. The future of our civilization rests on Australia's non-existence.
Yeah.
Now we were talking about the broad point of the origin of these conspiracy theories.
Yes.
We were talking about how we believe that maybe it was this sort of in-group. I want to know this and nobody else knows this, and so it's sort of not in an insidious manner, but it gives you a little boost.
Do you think it's in part to do with people's distrust for the media and the government? In America, for example, trust in the media is actually at an all-time low. It's a ridiculously low number.
That is an interesting question. I suppose if you believe you're being lied to, then you'll probably say the contrary.
Yeah. You'll
probably believe the contrary without as much.
Yeah, and conspiracy theories often come to you in a very sort of ingratiating manner, saying, we're here to save you from this.
Mm-hmm.
From this plan that involves you. So you'd be like, oh yeah, of course, I'll believe that.
I mean, to a certain extent, a healthy skepticism of the government and a healthy skepticism of media is a good thing in a society.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're sheep.
Mm-hmm.
You should always be cautious about what you're told. You should always inquire further. You should always ask, well, why is there any reason this person's saying that?
Yeah, can I just actually take that onto a broader topic as well? I was going to tie it in later on, but I think the belief and disbelief of conspiracy, well, not well, some conspiracy theories, and particularly this vaccination question, it comes from the sort of, this is an acceptable opinion to have. For example, somebody, a highly educated person, right? Let's say they're highly educated in the field of economics or engineering, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're actually going to come out and say, yeah, I don't know if evolution by natural selection occurs, or I don't know if climate change is due to human activity? It's because those are accepted things. It's sort of it's a bad opinion to have. It's just, it's perceived as opinions that smart people have, if you know what I mean.
I understand what you're saying. You're essentially saying that people who are uninformed about a given topic will sort of shape their view in such a way to make themselves look not stupid, effectively.
Yeah, well, perhaps that's a bit cruel, but effectively,
in
yes.
their head. I'm not putting a judgment on the opinions here, but
yeah,
they're essentially saying I don't want to be called an idiot here.
Yeah.
Essentially,
I mean, like, how many people do you think have actually looked at the graphs of how temperatures have fluctuated over the last few centuries?
7.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah. So 6 other people is what you're saying. I'm sure you've looked at them.
No, I recall that there was, in secondary school, we had to do a debate on the existence of global warming.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, that was this. It was a sort of round table kind of thing where 6 people. And I can't recall if it was supposed to be 3 people for, 3 people against, or how it was structured. But the main premise was, you sit around and talk for half an hour on the existence of global warming. You talk about graphs, you talk about data, and so on and so forth. And to be honest, at the end of it, I was a bit skeptical.
Yeah, but you were to clear up, you were skeptical that it was because of human activity.
Slightly. I still thought the logic was sound, but I thought, well, maybe it's not definite, or maybe there is some.
You thought maybe there were too many variables to count, or
yeah. Well, maybe it would be fair to say I thought that in some circles it was being slightly overstated.
Okay.
If you know what I mean, not necessarily their conclusions were wrong, that humans were causing climate change, or that this is a problem that we need to sort out. It was the nature of how they said it. They said it almost dogmatically, if you know what I mean.
Yes, it is a dogma. It's a...
I mean, they didn't say, well, this is a nuanced situation, but if you look at the data and you look at the trends, you see that this is a sensible conclusion. It wasn't stated like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you go onto like a forum, like if you go onto Twitter or Facebook, it's essentially anybody who doesn't believe this is an idiot. Anybody who doesn't believe this is just outside, not one of the group, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. There was no...
Here's another example of the in-group, out-group dichotomy.
Yeah, there was no attempt to go, well, there was no attempt to look at somebody saying...
Yes, I could understand how you arrived at that conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no sort of attempt at educating. There was no sort of reach out. There was no person going, well, why do you think that? When somebody said something contrary. Mm-hmm. Or somebody saying, well, do you not think that this could be true?
Can I interject here and actually say that I think that's a theme that's rearing its head, so to speak, lately, of not wanting to engage with somebody whose opinion you don't share.
It doesn't coincide with yours.
Yeah.
Just in general discourse, like.
General discourse, yeah. Sometimes I actually do. It is actually hard to sort of publicly sort of say, no, I disagree with that. There was do you know this morning show? I only saw a very short segment of it on a YouTube video. You know, with Piers Morgan, and she used to be at the BBC. She used to present BBC News.
Used to present Fiona Bruce.
No, it's This Morning on ITV.
Oh, Suzanne Reid?
Yes, I think that's her. They were talking to a Polish MEP. What do you call him? Janusz something Met. I can't remember. Janusz, middle name, Met. They were talking about the wage gap and stuff, but it just became... It just descended into madness. It was Piers calling him an idiot. He didn't even like... There was one occasion where you might have seen it actually says, therefore women must earn less.
Right.
And of course, plenty of people would sort of think must in that instance means ought to, or should, whereas Janusz then cleared up saying must as in it must be the case that.
Well, presumably if he's a Polish MEP, English isn't his first language.
Yes, that's my point. Is the onus would be on the two native level English speakers to deduce the nuances and subtleties in English, saying, or to
ask to clarify.
Or ask to clarify, saying, of course, must can actually mean that. Like,
So it
You
wasn't.
know, if you go to a dictionary or something and you look up a word, it'll say word. Here's another word it can also mean.
yes.
You might scroll through that, and then later on you remember, oh yeah, that word also means that. But then context, etc.
Yes.
What was I originally talking about?
Well,
Sort
you
of
were,
about,
you were talking about this specific interview, and essentially that you thought that there was no real.
There was no real trying to connect. There was no real trying to suss out his points. Going, yes, I see. We understand that now.
Or inquiring to any level. It was always.
Yeah, they didn't even. They just wanted to come stupid without. They didn't. There was a point, obviously, where they said, they came across that must ambiguity.
Yes.
Oh, you mean must as in they must opt
Oh,
out.
right. So they assumed that he meant.
Yes,
Oh,
but
right.
once they arrived at that, they didn't probe any further. They didn't think, oh, we've been thinking you've been saying this all along.
Oh,
And
right.
obviously that's a clear sign that you've misunderstood him along the way. But after that, there was no attempt to go back, re-clarify what he meant.
Okay.
And then Pierce just sort of saying, I'm glad I'm not as stupid as you, or something. Or he said, I voted Remain, but you're a great advert for leaving the European Union. And it was just got really personal. And I think that is a sort of predominant theme in a lot of discourse, a lot of debates on TV and radio, sort of, and in the public square, you might say.
That is interesting. Do you think we talk about this
We're being slight indulgent here, people.
No, I haven't actually seen the full interview, but I have seen bits of it, and it wasn't. Agree or disagree with either party. It wasn't an even playing field. It wasn't a normal debate. It wasn't
No.
a rational discussion between two people.
No, whoever you agree with that debate is immaterial, I think.
Yes.
I think it's how it was conducted.
Yes. We agree that this. It was structured in a way that wasn't polite.
No, it wasn't polite.
fair.
It wasn't. Not even.
Wasn't conducive to productive arguments.
No.
Wasn't conducive to furthering on the point or to clarify for people.
I know, yeah. Yeah, it was just an attempt to sort of reinstate either side's ideology, really.
Okay. And so I agree with you that has been prevalent in a lot of public discourse, whether it's in politics, whether it's in media, whether it's online. There is a significant lack of dialogue from a lot of individuals. And what I'm wondering is, specifically in the media, do you think that this hesitation to have rational dialogue, this hesitation to sort of step outside an ideology, does that derive specifically from being so entrenched in that ideology? Or does it derive from maybe going, well, no, if we have a rational debate, people aren't going to really watch it, but if we have an argument,
Yeah.
if we have an argument though,
Yes, it could be. It could be more about the views, more like TV at the end of the day is a
not
business.
to defend Aaron Pierce,
Yeah.
but what if Pierce had him on his ear going, keep on him, keep on him, keep on him.
Yes, that
Point
is a good
this
point.
out.
Yeah.
Get a bit loud, Pierce. Stand up, shout,
Mhm.
point.
Yeah, that is a good point because at the end of the day, TV is business, really.
TV is a business.
Yeah.
And conflict sells more than polite discussion.
That's why pop songs are almost all the same. It's because it sells. It sells. Yeah. Yeah, and if it sells, you're not going to deviate from that model, are you?
Mm-hmm.
I think particularly in an age when there are so many different media available, like Infowars, for example. Sorry to keep advertising Infowars. Shout out. I mean, there's so many news outlets and independent podcasts, etc., on the internet. So I think the mainstream media has to find their niche, if you want to call it that, their unique selling point.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a awful buzzword! Unique selling point.
That is a bit. Or when they show it the USP.
Yeah.
No, we're not a fan of the buzzwords.
No. I feel bad now.
I understand the basic sentiment, though. Yes.
Yeah.
Because it is a new age in that sense.
Yeah.
It is trying to fit in, trying to. There's no longer people going out to the printing presses and people going out to their local news agents. People are going online or reading what.
Yeah.
There was a survey. I can't remember the exact figures, so I'm not going to quote them. But a significant amount, I think it might have been over a quarter of people interviewed, said if their main source of news was social media.
Yeah, that is scary actually as well, because if you go on YouTube, Facebook, if you go on the internet full stop really, and you read news articles, what's it going to say? It's going to say, you might also like this. It's not going to say you may also need to read up on this. You may also need to consider this. It's going to keep feeding you that. I mean, you get bombarded with the same opinion constantly.
Once again, that's because it's a business.
Yeah, it's because of business. Yeah.
Now, it says you might also like, and it gives you things that you've already watched. You're going to be more likely to watch it.
Yeah.
And so, in contrast, if it says this is a contrary viewpoint, you're going to go, nah.
Yeah. Nah. Yeah. College campuses as well in America. That's a very, what would you say, dogmatic.
The lava's made of floor. The floor is made of lava. Or yeah.
What?
Have you ever seen that? Have you ever seen that meme? The floor is made of lava.
Oh, I have. Yeah. That
Yeah.
popular internet trend. Yeah.
Yes.
I prefer internet trends that are new. Everybody was acutely aware of the floor is lava.
Quite. Before we go on to the college campus scenario, if we speak about that for a minute, I would like to reiterate that although it is true that social media and things to that effect, you could argue do have that negative influence of maybe sort of confirmation bias, where you just go out and you just read what you want to hear, and it goes in a big ball and snowballs, and eventually at the end you end up being an ideologue. But in contrast, in a certain extent, there is no filter, there is no editor when it comes to social media.
Not all the time actually. If it's like if you're receiving video footage, like that's how we think we first sort of learned about the civil unrest in Egypt. Actually, it was from people videoing the conflict there. There's no filter there, for example, but a lot of videos on Facebook are from. Well, there's BuzzFeed. There's Facebook itself puts out videos. There's Vice, you know.
Yeah, for example, say a news outlet. I know we'll not put names, but say a news outlet got a bit of footage and wanted the doctor to fit their own narrative.
Yeah.
Right, and so they put it up, and back in the day when there was no sort of alternative media, there was no Facebook, none of that there, people would take it as it is. People who read that paper would say, oh God, this is what happened, and people who didn't read the paper wouldn't know that the paper had said that. But on something like Facebook, you get 10 other videos saying, oh, I was there, this is what happened. I was just next to him, that's not what happened, he's taking this part out. Oh, that didn't happen, he came in here.
Yeah.
You get a clarification, you get a more complete picture.
But to draw it back to, obviously not having to go with the social media here, but again, this pandemic of not trying to engage with the opposition, it's somebody who is quite entrenched within those viewpoints isn't gonna look at the other videos. They'll see it almost as a dissent, a betrayal, or a crime to sort of try and hear out the other point.
Yeah, but the extremes. But you have to engage with the middle though.
The middle.
The middle's where you have to engage. The middle's where you have to keep people from going to the extremes. You know what I mean? You got the extremes that have their fingers in their ears, that'll not listen to anything contrary, and then you have people in the middle who will.
Yeah.
And so if the people in the middle just read the same thing over and over again, they'll eventually be pushed towards the extreme. But if they have if they look at one thing and then they see a contrary viewpoint and they go, oh wait, no, that's wrong. This person's making up a story. This person's trying to fit a little story in. And so then they're more hesitant. Then they're more skeptical. And so I do agree with your sentiment that social media does have a certain amount of negative connotations when it comes to media. It does have that potential to turn people into ideologues, to get people entrenched in their viewpoints. But I think it also does have the potential to keep people away from it at the same time. It's a thin line.
It is a thin line. It is a thin line to tread. We do cover actual news stories here. I think we're fine. I thought at the start it was just going to be about conspiracies that Australia does not exist.
All stories are of worth equal value.
That is true. Okay, we're going to play...
No. I correct myself. The Australian non-existent one is of worth more value.
Worth more value?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, comedically, it's worth...
Comedically, ethically, morally... Yeah. Scientifically, spiritually.
Okay, we're going to play a bit of music and be back in a minute.